Super Rugby round 16. We are really getting to the business end at this point. And for a couple of the teams playing on Friday, I think it's pretty much do or die time. The table is still pretty clogged up with teams who are not that far from each other, but with games running out, teams like the Waratahs and the Blues need to act now because otherwise they will just be too far behind. All four teams, blue teams, this Friday, so I guess we will see some away kits, although I suppose the Waratahs light blue doesn't really clash with the dark blue of the Rebels. Anyway, the first one, the Blues up against the Bulls. Last time I did a preview for the Blues, I think it was against the Chiefs. Was it? No, it was the Crusaders. But the last time I wore the kit of the opposing team was the Chiefs and Blues preview, and the Blues had a win. On another note, I'm wearing a Bulls kit today. Do I think my jersey choice has an effect on the game? No. Am I still doing it? Yes. The Blues, as I said, 5 wins and 8 losses. They are 5th overall in the New Zealand Conference. They are 13th overall on the log. But, that makes them still 26 points, only 4 points behind 8th. So, in theory, if they got a bonus point win for a little while, they could potentially be in the playoffs. The thing is, all the other teams have still got games to play. They're only 4 points behind 8th. And with 3 games to play, that's still doable. If they lose this one, and of course other teams are going to win, all in that congested table, so you got to think if they lose it, they're probably done. The Bulls, slightly better situation. 3rd overall in South Africa, 7th on the log, so still in the playoff spots, but not guaranteed by any means. 7 wins and 6 losses. They are on 32 points, so still there. They're 4 points behind the Jaguares, 1 point behind the Sharks. So a bonus point win for them could see them top in South Africa. A loss and other teams getting results could see them out of the playoffs. So it's a massive potential swing here for the Bulls, depending on which way this game goes. In terms of the lineups, the Blues are pretty much unchanged. James Parsons starts, Api Sayers on the bench. Other than that, it's a stable 15 for the starting lineup. Nonu's still there, Rico Ioane's there, Plummer still gets the nod at number 10, so Otere Black continues to ride the pine. Melani Nana is at 15, he's been impressive this season, and so on. It's the same old Blues team. There was some talk of Sonny Bill Williams returning this week. No, not going to happen. So you got to wonder where his World Cup prospects are at. Does he make the All Blacks based on reputation alone? Probably, but I guess that's a topic for another time. Also, Dalton Papali'i is still recovering from concussion, so he is not available. The back row is Tom Robinson at 6, Blake Gibson at 7, and Akira Ioane at 8. For the Bulls, the key guy absent, obviously, is still Handré Pollard. So Mani Libbok, who hasn't had that many minutes this season, continues to steer the ship from number 10. There was a lot of talk about Pollard's absence being the difference with the Bulls and their result last week. So we will see if a bit more time in 10 helps Libbok settle in a bit. Not that I'm saying it was at all only his fault that they lost last week. The Brumbies were just in pretty good form. Another big name out for them is Dwayne Vermeulen. I think he got a bit of a stinger in that last game, so he has not made the matchday squad. So Marco van Staden comes into the side, and Paul Schoeman moves from 6 to number 8. So there's a little bit of shuffling around there. Also, Ivan van Sale gets the nod at number 9 this week, so Warner is on the bench. Yeah, man, it's a pretty big game. I mean, the Bulls won't be dead and buried if they lose it, but they kind of take their destiny out of their own hands. They're going to be behind, assuming other results force them down the table. They're at that point where it's quite possible that happens, and they would certainly like to keep control of their own destiny. And as I said, for the Blues, it's kind of do or die time. The Blues are at home, and they have been good at home this season. I guess that is why. potentially with the addition of Pollard not playing. The Blues are 9-point favourites for this one, which does seem like a fair bit. But again, the Bulls weren't all that flash last week, so we will see. Bulls, if you're going to get a game in New Zealand, surely it's the one against the Blues, so we'll see how they go. The next game, the Rebels and the Waratahs. Now, the Waratahs, as I said, are pretty much in the same boat as the Blues here. They have the same record of 5 wins and 8 losses. They are 12th overall, so one spot ahead of where the Blues are at. They're 3rd in Australia, ahead of the Reds and the Sunwolves. They're on 26 points, so it's the same as the Blues. They got 3 games to play, same as the Blues. 30 points is what the 8th team are on. So once again, if the Waratahs go and get a bonus point win, back in the playoffs, at least until the Saturday games are played, a loss, and exactly the same as the Blues. Probably that'll be them for the season. So it's been a bit of a turnaround for the Tars, bit of off-the-field turmoil, I suppose. Didn't help their season. The Rebels, are they going to be able to go one step better than last year? Because last year they went all but getting in the playoffs. They kind of threw it away at the end of the year. They weren't able to get those last points they needed to secure that playoff spot. They're in a slightly better position this year, but there's still the possibility they choke it away. So it would be really nice to see them make the playoffs for the first time. So not that I really have a horse in that race. I would still like to see the Rebels make the playoffs by whatever means. A win here would certainly help that out. So they're 2nd overall in Australia. They're at 7 wins and 6 losses, 5th on the table overall. So they are on 33 points. That's what I mean about being so congested in that table. Also 3 games to play. They're only 1 point behind the Brumbies, so even a draw would see them ahead at least for a game. And again, 8th place is 30 points. So they're only 3 points from being out of the playoff race. So as equally desperate the Tars will be to get a win, the Rebels also really need a win, at home especially. In terms of the lineups, we see Matt Tamua get a start for the first time for the Rebels, so he is at number 12 outside Quade Cooper. Reece Hodge is still at 13, that means Billy Meeks moves to the bench. Nasarani is back for this game, so that's a huge boost for them. Hardwick moves from 8 to 7. Luke Jones is also back. Whole new front row with Ainsley getting a start, Faulkner getting a start, and Rangi back in the side. So their forward pack has actually fronted up a bit better than I thought a lot of us thought they would this season. We'll see if they can continue that on here. Otherwise, team's unchanged. Still Guinea, he looked like he might be out after that massive knock he took last week, but apparently he passed the HIA on the spot, and he is good to go. Cooper's still there, had a really big game last week. They'll be looking for more of that from him. The Waratahs, minimal changes, but Carmichael Hunt is out. I think he's pretty much done. His injury seems pretty serious. Rona gets a start, so he's not on the bench. So Cam Clark's on the bench this week. And Lalakai Foketi comes in at number 12, so he's inside Ashley Cooper and outside Foley. Otherwise, the team is stable. Again, Wells, Hooper, Swinton, Simmons, Hannigan, Kepu, Fitzpatrick, Robertson, Beals at fullback. Pretty much same for the Tars. So, yeah, expect that one. I think especially that second one, given it's an Aussie derby, could get pretty testy. I wouldn't think that it's impossible that there'd be some kind of off-the-ball stuff, perhaps a bit of niggle in this one. I can't imagine it'll be Skalk Brits on Aka van der Merwe style punches, but I think it could be a pretty rough game. Rebels by 7 is what the bookies have for that one. So both teams home favourites relatively comfortably. But yeah, this is really it for these teams. Whoever stands up is going to put them one step closer to the playoffs. Whoever loses it could potentially be out or putting their fate into the hands of other teams. How do you guys think these games are going to go? Are you also backing blue teams to win? The Blues and the Rebels home teams, or can you see an away upset? You guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.